So, hey YouTube, my name is Chris, and this is the global reading for 2026 whenever you find it, pretty much. Let's just see what comes up. 10 cards for the overall energy. There's the 10 of Swords. There is something radically over. When you look into the world, when you look at the news, basically, this is the old system, right? And it might kick and scream a lot, but there is something coming to an end in 2026. What will come next? That's the big question here. The Two of Wands, we're already looking forward for something new. And this is the old system. Okay. 10 of Swords, 2 of Wands. We got 2 more. There's the Death card and there's Justice. I don't think I need to interpret that. I mean, goes totally in alignment with the 10 of Swords, right? There's something is just radically over. Wheel of Fortune and the King of Wands. King of Wands, in this kind of super transformation in 2026, right? It is super important. The King of Wands shows up, so keep your passion, keep your fire energy in check. And that also means your willpower, right? Know what you want and what you don't want and communicate that. It's the King of Wands, right? Not just communicating this, but, boundaries and enforcing boundaries in the sense that you create some discomfort if your boundaries are not respected, right? So King of Wands here with that's the Destiny, Wheel of Fortune, right? Your willpower, what do you want, what do you don't want, and be clear about it. And don't get easily triggered into an emotional or passionate reaction. Don't fall for sexual stuff, right? That's a warning in here with the Wands energy, fire energy. And don't fall into anger and hatred. Anger can be a catalyst for change, right? But hatred is always the dark side, that's for sure. And the King of Wands knows how to deal with his strong emotion, how to deal with his passion. You can be passionate by all means about justice, right? But, don't get carried away by anger or frustration. Don't fall into hatred. Very important here. The new beginning, and we're remembering joy. That's what I like to hear. The Fool card, the Death card, the 10 of Swords. There is the ending and the new beginning, right? And this is a global reading for 2026. Whenever you find it, there should be, I think, check out your Sun, Moon, and Rising if you want the full picture. 2 more. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. There's the Hermit and the Queen of Wands. Bottom of the deck, my friends, is the Devil. Okay, so, but fear not, don't freak out, my friend, because this is actually better than it initially looks like, but it's definitively heavy. So we got the Devil on the bottom of the deck, right? So there is antagonistic energy, there is mindfuck energy, there is an energy that wants to keep us trapped, basically, in, for example, strong emotions. If I can control your emotions, I can manipulate you. If I can trigger you sexually, if I can trigger you emotionally, if I can trigger you in guilt, fear, shame, so your feelings, your emotions, your passion, there's sexuality, there's willpower, right? If I can trigger you in that regard, that is what the Devil is constantly doing, right? Trying to sniff out your insecurities. That's basically the narcissist of the tarot deck, right? Try to sniff out your insecurities, trying to see how you react to certain things. Are you going along with it? Are you allowing people to overstep your boundaries? Because if you allow that, if you're not creating discomfort, they will do it again, right? And eventually it will establish as the norm and your boundary is gone, right? So careful with that. We will be tested, right? That's for sure. And how do we not get trapped in that? There's the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Cups here, and the King of Wands. Know exactly what you want and know how you feel about stuff. But not necessarily express your feelings, but express what you want. State your will, right? And don't buy into the BS of that, right? So you need to follow your own guidance, follow your own light. There's the, the strongest cards here in this deck, together with the Wheel of Fortune and, come on, the Justice card, right? So this is really good. So there are 3 chapters of this reading, basically. How do we deal with that energy? We will be tested, and how we deal with it, meditation, breathwork, every day. You do 10 seconds in, 20 seconds out, 7 seconds in, 14 seconds out. The out breath should be 2 times that of the in breath. Very important. You stabilize yourself. You focus your willpower and you're releasing negative energy. This goes in alignment with the King of Wands here. Cultivating your willpower, releasing negativity, Queen of Cups energy. Follow your own light, cultivate your own light. Free the channel from your waking consciousness to the subconsciousness. Be just in alignment with yourself. Respect yourself. Love yourself. Cultivate inner peace and inner strength and willpower. That's the antidote to this frequency. So, and if you do that, that devilish energy here that's actually a good combination. If you have the devil at the bottom of the deck and then you got the 10 of Swords and the Death card, that's not a bad combination in this particular set, right? With the devil of the... And then what's coming, right? This death, this ending, right, is a Wheel of Fortune moment. It's kind of destined to be. And there's justice coming. And justice coming with that card at the bottom of the deck, that's what we want to hear, right? That's what we want to see. So in order to see it, what is very important, you're not winning against this energy if you behave the same way. If they are cruel and you are even crueler, then only cruelty wins, right? That is not a specific form. This is a function. This is not how it looks or what it is or who it is, right? This is what is done, how it's done, right? Disrespect, for example, or violence or cruelty, right? This is not a specific form. It's not just these people or that people, but cruelty can shift its shape, right? Cruelty can be among these people, among that people. And that's also what the antagonistic energy is always trying to convince us of, that it's always the outer form, that it's these people, and if you get rid of these people, then everything will be fine. That's a lie. That's a lie. So what is real is that evil is not a form, evil is a function. So you have to deal with the function. And if you behave just like that frequency, they have already won. If you behave like them, you become one of them, right? So uphold your standards. Integrity, authenticity, justice is here, absolutely, right? You uphold your own principles, you uphold the law, you uphold your own decency, right? And you're not falling into the same frequency. You will be tempted and you will be tested to behave like them. But that's how they spread, right? That's how they recruit new people, basically. They make you behave like them and they tell you it doesn't matter, but it does matter. So don't jump down into the mud with the pigs, right? Uphold your standards. And that's following your inner light with the Hermit. You know your light. You know how you feel about stuff and you know what you want and what you don't want. That's very important. And the most important thing, breath work, as I said, 10 seconds in, 20 seconds out, whatever you can do comfortably, but you should really push out the last breath. And then let's just all go through that. Seems to be intense, right? Radical ending of an old system that stores energy. That's basically a way of thinking, a way of organizing stuff, totally over. It's kind of, it's time, right? It's ready to end, and it needs to end. There's the Justice card. Super intense. And there's the Fool card. What do we look at, right? What do you want to create? Well, first of all, what we want to create has a lot to do with knowing yourself, right? What is important for you? What do you actually want? There's willpower, right? Then how do you actually feel about stuff? And truly speak your truth, right? Even if your voice is shaking, speak your truth, follow your own light. And then if you meditate, if you do breath work, that's a daily practice basically, you know what you want and where you want to go. After all that happened, right? There's the Fool card and there's the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is this energy, the new beginning with the Fool card, of course, and remembering joy, remembering playfulness. That's one of the most beautiful cards of the tarot deck, actually. The frequency is just so innocent and playful and joyful, and there's no, if we have, if we went through that, whatever that is, right? That's a radical ending. That's a radical new beginning. And the radical ending of an old system, that's for sure. And then the beginning of a new one. And be sure to know yourself and what you want and don't want. And don't behave like the people you try to fight. Be careful with fighting, by the way. Keep inner peace. There's a way of fighting, of resisting, of standing up for yourself without adopting the behaviors and functionalities of these frequencies. So in other words, if you don't like what they do, then don't repeat it. Don't behave the same way. You're better than that, right? Knowing that, and that's what you're manifesting, right? There's the wonderful Six of Cups, beautiful, beautiful energy. Phew, that's intense, man. That's a woman or unicorn, whatever, right? That's just, the Strength card. The Strength card is here. You're not fighting so much as upholding your inner principles, your inner convictions, your inner light, upholding your inner light. You're clearly communicating boundaries. You're saying no if you mean no and stuff like that. And you create some discomfort, if you have a difficult client, for example, right? I, for example, had someone, she was pretty much dictating, and we're going to do it like this and that and that and this, and please do that till next week at this and that. We didn't even have a contract or anything. We didn't even had a deal or anything. We didn't had an agreement. We were about to get an agreement, but, she was already behaving as if we already had one, and she could dictate all that is going to happen. And then I just said, no, fuck you. I didn't say the fuck you part. I wrote an email very kindly, just stating, oh, I can't do this, right? I don't want to do this, and farewell, right? Have a good day. Fuck you. Not saying fuck you actually in the email, but, that's what you think. King of one's energy. There is that fire of anger, right? Fuck you, right? That's anger. But the King of Wands can control this anger and say, thank you very much. I'm not available for this project. Ciao. That's her speaking and he feels it. But, he is the King of Wands, right? He controls his own passion, his own fire energy. He's not lashing out. He's not behaving like the other person that you want to call them out for their bad behavior. So don't behave the same way. even if you sometimes feel like it, right? That's very human to have this impulse to react, but catch that impulse to react. And then you look at it, mindfulness, that's what you cultivate through breathwork and meditation. And then you can respond to it. If indeed it deserves a response, right? Maybe it doesn't. But if it does, then you can make the choice to respond to it. You know? The Four of Wands, the Death card and the, there are two parts here, basically. This is the Death card and the old system, right? Ten of Swords, Death card. And then you got Justice and the Wheel of Fortune. And the connection between those two is kind of a celebration. Right? It looks really like a freaking celebration, right? There's the Four of Wands. That's just what comes out here, okay? I don't know what this reading is about. Well, it looks like what it's about. There's again the Queen of Cups. Stay in awareness and mindfulness of your emotion. Don't get carried away with them. Don't behave like the one you want to... You don't want to be one of these people, so don't behave like one of these people. It's not the outer form, it's the function, it's what you do. There's the Chariot, right? And the Chariot connecting basically this new beginning to something really good, remembering joy, right? I'm looking forward for that. Justice and King of Wands, Queen of Wands, Hermit, following your own light. Bottom of the deck, balance will be restored. I mean, the world is pretty much very, very super imbalanced, right? But this will not last forever. So Tatvamasi, this too shall pass. And that, Tatvamasi actually means like, and that too, right? That's also part of the experience, but it will change. When you're dealing with antagonistic, toxic people, they're sometimes really, really good in pretending to be decent people. But what they usually do is they sugarcoat it just a little too much, right? They try to please just a little bit too much, right? And you can develop a sense to see that, to experience that, right? Also, the more you're in focus, the more you're in inner peace, you're not easily getting triggered by their BS, right? And you can just watch them and take a step back in your inside, basically, and observe, right? Without being distracted or carried away by your emotion or by your passions, right? That's why it's so very important that you're not lash out, that you're not getting overwhelmed by your emotion or by your anger or by your will or by your fire energy, right? But you rule these things, that you're not constantly in a reactive mindset, but you can control, you got something in between the trigger and a possible reaction. And in between, there's mindfulness, my friend. And if you have mindfulness in between, you destroy this trigger reaction chain, right? Cause and effect, right? Trigger reaction. If you can cut that through mindfulness, you already won, right? Trust your intuition, trust your emotion, trust how you feel around people. If there's something, gut feeling like that tells you this is not right, this is not the right person for me, I don't feel good around this person, then by all means trust that, right? Never accept disrespect. Never accept disrespect, right? That's very important. State your boundaries and enforce your boundaries in the sense that you create some discomfort or that you just say no. If then you just say no. And then you're out of there, period. So This one speaks about forgiveness and how important, I mean, I'm a Buddhist, right? So forgiveness is a concept that is looking into the past, right? And forgiveness is also connected to kind of an all-powerful godlike deity, that is kind of granting this forgiveness. That's the Christian concept. The Buddhist concept is more about responsibility, taking responsibility in the here and now, not looking whose fault it is. That's always pointing into the past. So forgiveness is connected to the concept of guilt. Karma, for example, karma is connected to responsibility, right? And everybody will have to take responsibility for their actions. And so have you, right? So be careful with this concept of forgiveness. It is only possible. Forgiveness is only possible. I'm not big on forgiveness. I tell you how it is. I believe in karma and I believe in responsibility, and people who did something wrong will have to take responsibility for that, period. That's just karma. So I don't need to forgive. Whether I forgive them or not makes no difference. It makes a difference for yourself internally, but I rather let go of something, take out the emotional charge, take out the anger, the frustration, maybe even the hatred, and make myself free from that. So I forgive myself, basically. But in general, if you're big on forgiveness, that's your choice. But forgiveness is only possible if that which needs to be forgiven stops. If it continues and you're forgiving it and it still continues, that's basically endorsement. So you don't ever do that, right? Very, very important. Forgiveness can be a trap, and it's usually twisted in a way that makes no sense by this energy, right? So if the behavior or whatever needs to be forgiven, if that continues and you constantly forgive it again and again, that you're basically endorsing it. That's not healthy at all. So let's just do one more quote. Yeah, let's just take this. Howard Zinn quote. What matters is the countless small deeds of unknown people who lay the basis for the significant events that enter history. They are the ones who have done things in the past, and they are the ones who have to do it in the future. So be one of these people. Don't do it for outside recognition. Do it because it's the freaking right thing to do, and it is the highest expression of your inner light, and you uphold and protect your inner light in a time where this energy runs amok in the world. But this time, this is not 2025, right? 2025 was kind of the year of hell, basically, but this is 2026. So this time there's justice. This time there's the new beginning. This time there is the devil on the bottom of the deck, yes, but the devil on the bottom of the deck combined with the Ten of Swords and the Death card. And then we got justice and the Wheel of Fortune. You tell me how that word is that I'm looking for, but I can't quite remember how it is. Maybe you write something in the comment. What should I call this? What is this reading about? So share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. And hopefully see you next time. Lightship Earth, let's just take that. I want to do one Blue Angel Oracle deck card. And it's number 40. It's number Lightship Earth, and I like it because 2026 is about personal and planetary healing. The Earth is a living consciousness currently being flooded with higher vibrational energies. These very same energies are flowing through you. In being aware of this, you will be better able to integrate these new energies. Keep an open heart and mind, and you will see this time is a joyful one. Do not allow yourself to be drawn into the fear that exists. This is a time of personal and planetary healing. You and the Earth are moving towards a higher state of awareness. This is very important, right? So what is happening now is for the better, but it's probably going to be kind of a little intense. right? 2026, my friends. Check out the summer reading, check out the yearly reading if you want the full picture, sun, moon, and rising. And hopefully see you next time. Now, die, my friend. Ciao.